Happy birthday, Access TV. May your cameras lead the way. Schools use it, libraries use it, and if you want, you can too. Boy Scouts use it, we can't lose it. The armies use it and musicians too. Happy birthday, Access TV. May your cameras lead the way. Missoula Community Access TV. Missoula Community Access TV. If you don't like what you're watching, you can come here to make your own. Everyone's using it, we can't lose it. Everyone's using it. Access TV. Happy birthday, Access TV. May your cameras lead the way. Corporate TV can be sleazy. One big commercial to sell your soul. Missoula Community Access TV. Missoula Community Access TV. Power to the people. Access TV. Power to the people. Access TV. Missoula Community Access TV. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Woo!
Well, if you tuned in to see a basketball game, you didn't make it. But if by any chance you're looking for the second anniversary celebration of MCAT, well, then you better stick around because this is it. You found it. My name's Ron Wheeler. You just heard Michael Marsack and Richie Doyle. Richie Doyle just wrote that song this morning in honor of our second anniversary, and it sounded great, Richie. Thanks a lot.
Proud to do it, Ron.
You may not recognize him, but he's all dressed up for the night. If you're still getting dressed to come on down, there's plenty of time. We've got a bunch of cake, and we've got a bunch of pop, and we've got a bunch of good times. What we're planning tonight is to do a little interview stuff. We're going to do some cake eating. We're going to listen to some music. And we're going to see some videos that have recently taken some awards, produced here at MCAT, and given some awards from the Best of the Northwest, as well as the Wildlife Film Festival. What we're going to do then is we'll take a look and see what we can roll. There's a program called Poverello, runs 14 minutes and 55 seconds. Took an award at the Best of the Northwest, was produced by Terry Jimerson, who I'm sure you will meet later. And I'd like to roll this for you now so you can get some idea of the kind of high quality programming. We're not going to roll it now. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know, what we're going to be doing then is we'll be talking to people who are going to be in and out of here all night. I see Betty Evans is here. How do you feel about getting in front of the camera, Betty? She's going to be right back. What we need is producers, and they are on their way down. Betty is a librarian and has worked extensively in Idaho as well as Montana in public access. And I just want, I'm going to ask people the same question. What does public access mean to you?
it's a free and unique way to get my very important message out.
And what kind of important message have you been getting out in Missoula?
Well, people need to quit watching so much TV and come to the library and check out books.
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 You
read,
do books
read,
at
books.
the library.
That's right.
What kind
that's
of
right.
library programs have been produced at MCAT so far?
We have a monthly program called Undercover, where the library director, Dave Pauly, interviews local writers who've just published a book, and it's co-produced by Barbara Thoreau of Fact and Fiction. She lines up the talent, and Dave does the interviews, and we have librarians who run the cameras, and teenagers, and offspring, and those kind of people. We do a program with middle schoolers called Book Looks, where they do a Siskel and Ebert look at new, yes, this kind of thing at young adult fiction, and they're quite blunt, and
I've seen them. They are
they're-
blunt.
They're
Yes.
very honest.
You can
and-
trust children to say
and
what they
they
mean.
tell you
yeah.
exactly what they think, and
Right.
and people can choose to read that book based on their reviews.
Uh-huh.
We also videotape programs. When we have authors like Ken Tomasma, who writes Native American stories for kids. When he comes to our library and does storytelling, we videotape that, and we have lots of people then who can see that program. And those are just a few.
Just a few.
Yes,
Also,
yes.
some live specials have originated
That's
at the
right.
library as well.
During Band Books
I
Week,
know that.
we do some.
Hey, Abe.
We like to do audience participation where,
Uh-huh.
where people can come and use it as a soapbox. Oh my goodness, look at all, oh my goodness.
Here they come, you know, one
The
right
apple
after another.
Frumply.
Well, you know, you're doing wonderful work here. The library is a great asset to the community, and I just hope MCAT can help it to
Well,
do its job just a little bit better.
I hope so too. And you can call me Mrs. Randy Ammon.
I
if
can
you
call
like.
you
Yeah.
Mrs. Randy Ammon?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I'll hit you, but
You-
you can do
You don't get as much press as Mr. Randy Ammon.
Mrs. Athol.
Mrs. Athol Frumpley herself. I knew she'd show up. Whenever there's awards and cake, you can bet on the Frumpleys. They always come when you need them. So listen, guys, you know, I can tell you out there in television land that if you're a Portland fan, you're going to have a lot more fun here tonight than you had last night watching commercial television. So get down here, help us celebrate, and by all means, stay tuned. Did you by any chance bring...
A knife?
No. Well, yeah, we're going to cut
I
some
brought
cake,
a
as a
knife.
matter
I
of
brought
fact.
a knife and I brought asphalt.
Well, it's important because we do want to interview some of the stars of the productions, especially the award winners. And
Athol is among us.
Athol is among us. Okay. We are? For which one? Oh, okay. Well, let's not waste any more time and ask Athol Frumpley himself to step up and say a few words to the people of Missoula. I have to tell you that Athol Frumpley has been one of our charter stars. He's made Missoula glisten just a little bit brighter. Athol, what do you think about MCAT?
Well, by golly, I think it's really great, you know. What else can you say, you know, when you got something like this and all these people taking advantage of it? It's just really wonderful, you know. I don't know what I'd be doing if it wasn't for this, you know. I'd probably be doing something that was way more boring, you know.
Be out on the street.
Oh, well, yeah, or something illegal. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to say, you know, what you do when you don't have, you know, something really good that you can use like this.
Yeah, well, you certainly use this facility well. You know, you have a friend, Terry Jimerson, who also does some work
Yeah,
down here.
he's
I know you don't really
Yeah,
say a lot of
no,
good
he-
things about him, but can you tell us about some of the work that he's done?
Well, he does a little more boring kind of
Boring.
stuff, you know. Yeah, but he does some good things too, you know. But it's not nearly as exciting, you know, as the things that we do, you know. My camera person here, you know, Mrs.
Yeah, Mrs. Athol.
Athol.
Yeah, Mrs. Frumpley.
Ethel.
Mrs. Ethel.
It's
Ethel.
Ethel.
Ethel and
Ethel.
Athol.
Ethel and
Frumply,
Ethel, of
Frumply.
course,
Of
you know.
course,
By
right.
golly.
Yep,
You know?
yep. I knew that once.
Yeah.
I did.
She, you know, for those that haven't seen the programs, you know, she really specializes in some camera techniques you don't see very often, like the 360-degree turn. You know, you don't see that often unless you're
That's
watching,
true.
you know, Michael Jordan or somebody like that can do these 360s, you know, and all
Right.
this stuff, but very few can do it with a camera in their hand,
It's
you know. And
sort of like the
she-
slam cam.
Yeah,
or, you
yeah,
know,
she can do those, by golly, and that's partly why she's the camera person on the raw footage stuff, you know.
All of the raw footage.
Oh, but you were
do,
not, yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
I've actually seen some of this production going on, and I can tell you that it is something to behold. Did you bring any tape for us to take a look at?
I believe
The
they're
answer-
ready to
there-
roll it.
there is a
guess-
tape.
I-
Well,
yeah.
let me just ask you
I was
this.
thinking Scotch tape or something like
Scotch
that.
tape,
but
duct
no,
tape,
duct tape, you know.
holds us
By
together
golly,
here.
duct tape, yeah.
It binds us.
But this was, you're referring to other kinds of
Duct tape and cheese.
Yeah.
They you know.
Bind us.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, perhaps you could tell us about the production that won an award at the Best of the Northwest competition. Can you say something
by
about
golly,
this?
yeah, I could. I forget how it started off, but it had something to do with a little red wagon that we had, you know, and we thought, by golly, you know, what happened if you had somebody sitting in this darn thing, you know, with a camera? And so we went through the park that way, you know, just had this wonderful dolly. It was
That was
kinda-
Ethel.
Well, Ethel was filming, yes. Ethel,
Ethel
was
was in the-
filming
Ethel,
in the
yes.
wagon.
Okay.
I was
Right.
pulling the darn thing, you know. Anyway, we had this whole concept, you know, trying to do some things about flying and all different kinds of things. So anyway, we started off with that, you know, and then by golly, the news hit, you know, and when we put the two things together, why we kind of had a concept, you know, and
yes.
that was basically it, you know.
And you
so,
were able to do that.
by golly, yeah, with a lot of help from
Was
the
it-
people down here at MCAT.
Was
you know,
it very
'cause-
expensive for you?
Oh no,
No,
somebody
no.
gave us the wagon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think we'd better take a look at this because this is one of the more famous pieces that you're going to see coming out of Missoula.
Yeah.
Let's roll it.
Raw footage. Raw footage. Atul Fropley here reporting again. You know, we've just been reading all about John Sununu, you know, and he is probably going to be on his way out. Well, I'm trying out some new forms of transportation here, you know, to see if I could possibly get the job. Hello, White House. Hello, White House. This is me. You see, I could communicate wherever I am, and by golly, this thing goes, you know. So, if you see me on TV next time, it might possibly be from the White House. It's Atul Fropley here, zipping along. Howdy doody. Yeehaw. Atul Fropley here again in my big red flyer. By golly, this thing even gets clear off the ground. Look at this go. Here I am in another form of transportation. You know, John Sununu is up to his neck in trouble now. If I can't make it on my other super flying machine, I always got my red flyer. Hello, hello, President Bush? President Bush, where are you? Come down off of wherever you are. It's a big important time right now. Yeah, it's time for vacation. Okay. Yeah, I think I got the job. Atul Fropley here. Good day. Ha-hoo! Ha-hoo! Go, little red wagon, go! Atul Fropley here again reporting. You know, found another way of traveling. This one goes beyond even what Sununu can do. So, I'm just waiting around here for a phone call from the... Well, speaking of the devil, I think my phone's ringing. Hello, who is this? The White House? What do you want? Would I? Sure. for a long time. I'll see you in a little bit. Goodbye. Hey, they want me in the White House. Can't you just see it now? Another Ethel in the White House. Goodbye, suckers. Ha ha ha!
Well, Ethel, that's got to be one of the best pieces I've seen in a long time. Not only did it get a Best of the Northwest award, but Deep Dish, the only satellite public access system in the world, picked it up and broadcast it nationwide. I think that you are to be congratulated for your newly found stardom, and I'd like to know what you attribute your great success to.
I don't know.
Yeah,
By
well-
golly, you can never tell, sometimes the muse hits you, and it's amusing.
Yep, that's true. And it'd be more amusing in Washington, D.C. Are we going to hear some more music? Let's cue the musicians.
This is a song called Limi Sule Te Ku, and that's what the natives called this place before we renamed it Missoula. The word Missoula comes from the phrase Limi Sule Te Ku. Easy said, easy sung, easier sung. Limi Sule Te Ku, to the waters of surprise. Around here 5 valleys emerge, where timeless deep rivers converge, where guarding mountain ranges hold hidden passes, trails unfold. Limi Sule Te Ku, to the waters of surprise. There, beware what's in the air when winter winds begin to blow. Whispered secrets through the snow, stories of not long ago. Limi Sule Te Ku, to the waters of surprise. Oh, river's journey never ends. Bitter roots flower again. Native people's ceremony. Every spring a testimony. Limi Sule Te Ku, to the waters of surprise. Friends arrive from all directions to rendezvous a celebration at Council Bluff, where rivers meet. Stories to hear, good food to eat. Limi
Well, we certainly do have musicians here. We also have a couple of the juiciest looking chocolate cakes I've seen in a long time. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask somebody. Betty, would you do this for us? Would you start cutting the cake in celebration of our second birthday and let people start eating here? All right. Can we, oh, we're going to watch this happen. Now, doesn't matter. One's for producers and one's for everybody else. So we're going to eat them both. Here we go. 1, 2. All right. Yes. Well, see, if you're not down here now, I don't have to tell you what you're missing. This is, let's see, the cake has beautiful chocolate frosting. It has wonderful light yellow inside. And if I don't get a piece of it pretty soon, I'm going to die. And for you, just one more word about Portland people. You noticed I'm wearing a Celtics hat, so if you guys are sad, let me tell you that things could be worse, you know. Portland's still playing. It's not over yet. Only for the Celtics, let me tell you, it's over for the Celtics. Well, hey, you people who are standing around, come on in, start milling a bit. I mean, these are terrible, crowded conditions out there. Come in, please, come in. Get those kids up some cake. Come on, Sam, make believe you enjoy it. Eat the cake. Second anniversary. Is my mic live? Am I talking or what? I'd like to invite all you rattlesnakers who might be tuned in, come on down and have some cake. Let's talk about getting that signal in the rattlesnake. Cake in the snake. Come on down. I've already been warned that if I don't get any cake back into the control room, we may be going off the air. I can go get cake? All right. Oh, we got to get some of this stuff back into the control room. Tell me, what do you think of the cake?
Well, it's a little rich.
Little rich.
A lot of sugar in it.
A lot of sugar in it.
It's great.
Sounds like cake to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Get the cake before I eat it all.
There's also a whole bucket of pop in there, folks. Dig it out when you get thirsty. Put them up on the table. Abe Abramson, an old-time public access activist. Retired? Never. Abe Abramson will retire when they take that telephone out of his cold, dead fingers. Hey, you guys all look familiar back here. Is there anybody I know? Who are you?
Nobody.
Nobody. I see you down here a lot. You do anything on television?
No.
Are you a famous person or something?
No, you're thinking of my.
What's his name?
No.
His name
not.
is
You've never heard of Eugene?
Eugene.
Eugene Bernofsky.
Eugene, a town in Oregon.
You're thinking of my.
Eugene, the famous postal filmmaker.
You're
Thinking
you're
of your
thinking
brother?
of my. You're
Look
thinking
at
of my
that.
twin
Look-
sister.
Look at that. Look at the camera. Over there, your twin sister. I think I used to date her.
Yeah. I think that's who.
Have you had any cake?
Who are you?
I'm just the guy with the microphone. That's all. That's all. Have you had some cake?
Yes.
What did you think of the cake?
Well, I haven't finished it yet.
Well, is that because it's bad cake?
No, it's because it's very filling.
Really? What do you think about the Portland Trailblazers?
Champs.
I think that they might not win.
You think they might not win? Oh, I don't know. Here's a basketball fan. Come here. Come here. What do you think about the Trailblazers?
I think they have a chance of winning a few, but I don't think they'll win it.
You don't think they're going to win it?
No,
You
Joey-
don't think they're trying to just put Chicago to sleep?
No, but you know,
Well, they sort of did.
they have to work a lot.
Okay. There's some people eating cake back here. I'm telling you, everybody but me.
If they were, they'd go and get some sun.
We'll talk to one of those guys.
Yeah, I will. This looks like a Trailblazer fan to me. I'm interviewing Trailblazer fans. What do you think about the Trailblazers?
They're coming back. They're coming back.
Wait a minute here. There. What do you think about the Trailblazers? See, he's already wearing his rally cap right here.
That's right.
Have you had any cake yet?
We haven't had it. We just got here.
This is Jay, by the way. Jay is married to this place in a way of speaking. This is Mr. Mary Canty, and Mary Canty's going to get on camera as soon as I can break her loose. So, have some. You know what you could do, Jay? If you really wanted to keep this thing going and help out, you could get some cake back there in the control room before they, get really angry.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
All right.
I'll help out the workers.
Mary this one with the big purple flower.
Big purple flower for Mary.
There you are, Sammy.
Well.
Walk over to this television and take a look.
I'm into talking, saying a few words about MCAT.
All right. We have here Mr. Michael Marcelic, local radio fiend, and also recently television production artist. What do you think?
Well, I think it's just great. Missoula Community Access Television has offered, I think, a lot of Missoulians an opportunity to do unique and different things for television that otherwise would never have been done. It's interesting for me too, because the programs that I've produced have been mostly informational kind of shows on topics that I feel are important or that I think need to be talked about a little bit more. And it's really interesting to hear the response, because there seems to be a real need and a real desire for people to find out more about the issues or different topics and different things. And there are some great programs being produced on MCAT. Some of the people that have been doing regular shows have done some really fantastic things.
Tell us some of the topics that you've pursued in your program.
Well, my show, After Hours, started out, I do a regular shift at KUFM,
Right.
and started out I was doing some kind of late night radio talk things, and that developed into an idea when I got hooked up with MCAT to kind of do it simultaneous. And I've actually filmed some at the radio station and then aired in both places and done some live here on MCAT.
Wow.
I've done shows on recycling. I've talked with Jim Fleischman from Montana People's Action. Talked with Dr. Beth Thompson, who's with Physicians for Social Responsibility. We had a show on reviving the peace dividend. We talked about, done some shows on the pesticide issue. A couple of programs, including one which was a live call-in on the wilderness debate, the ongoing debate in Montana. Had a panel of people in, did a live show on that. That was real fun. And did some follow-up things where I took a camera out in the field and taped a couple of different events that happened. And I've got some other topics on the agenda. One thing Missoulians are going to be up against real soon is the ethanol, or at least the oxygenated fuels that we're going to have to deal with beginning this winter, according to federal law.
Right.
And there's a choice that we're going to have, or at least more of information needs to be out there, I think, so people know the difference between MTBE and ethanol. There seems to be a lot of information out there about both, and it's something I think Missoulians need to know about.
Yeah.
It's also something, the debate is, I think, partially going to be over the fact that with the air the way it is in Missoula, do we want to use oxygenated fuels year-round or just during the 4 months?
I just saw a petition today dealing with that same issue, and so a lot of people asked me what it was all about, and I had limited information.
Well, I'm finding that too, and I don't, one of the best things about doing programs where you bring people in and get a chance to talk to them and expand on that is that, I find out a lot too. There's a lot of information being shared. And that's a subject that I'm going to be working on, hopefully for my next show, which will air next week.
All right.
Have put this together by next week.
So your show is now weekly?
It's every other week.
Every other week.
Wednesday nights and Thursday afternoons.
Right. Well, I tell you, you're the reason that public access exists. I mean, so that you can do your sort of thing and bring this kind of information to people. Information that otherwise might be very difficult to come by, I might add.
One thing that I wanted to add too is that so many people have taken the time. Talk about a volunteer effort. I mean, some people donate blood, some people volunteer for PTA. Some people are investing a lot in their community by producing programs for Missoula Community Access Television. I think about the people that either can't get out or are busy on a particular evening or for some reason aren't able to make an event, and whatever that event might be.
Right.
There are a group of people that producers at MCAT that typically will show up at different events around town
Just as a community
and tape them.
service.
And these are everything from music events,
Right.
from things like even the Mammoth Bakery open mics that
Right.
I was hosting for a while, and things like that. Show up and tape something like that, so that people that weren't there that night have a chance to see them. So,
Yeah. Even out to lunch, it gets a pretty good
Exactly,
run
and
all winter long.
And that's a great thing. You think about the value that has for all the folks that you might make 1 or 2 Wednesdays or even most of the Wednesdays, but you're going to miss 1 or 2 probably, and there'll be good artists that you'd like to get a chance to hear. I think I'd like to see producers do even more with music on MCAT. More and more music.
Local artists.
Sure,
Yeah,
and get some
right.
programs on. In fact, another idea I have, and I haven't talked to the KUFM folks about this yet, but it's an idea I have. I'm going to be producing, hopefully, beginning in the fall, a new version of what was the Radio Jamboree, live, or a taped program of local musicians. And I have an idea that I'd like to do that for television as well.
All right, that would be wonderful.
I think it could be really neat to have and then obviously air the audio portion on the radio.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
And that'd be a fairly easy project, I think. I might need to try to solicit some help with it, but for a half-an-hour show.
Do you find that getting help is difficult?
Not really. In fact, I had to put together a crew of 14 people to do the live call-in thing.
Yeah.
I had people for
Right.
phones and help with publicity, and somebody to generate
And
the
they were
titles.
there.
And they were there. They were there for me. It's kind of a give and take kind of thing. I've been asked numerous times to assist with different projects of somebody else's projects, and
Missoula volunteerism, right?
It's great.
Yeah,
And the real neat thing that I think about that is that the more people get involved with different aspects, I might come in and run sound for somebody or run a camera, or as you learn more and more about what it takes to put together a program, you can really offer a lot. And then you learn as it goes on.
You get better.
You see
and-
somebody
yeah.
else do their project
Yeah.
and get ideas and share ideas. And it's been a lot of fun. I think it's a great resource for Missoula.
Well, I appreciate your work, and I really appreciate you being down here playing music for us tonight.
It's fun.
It's great.
My friend Richie Doyle over there, who doesn't look like himself tonight.
Richie Doyle.
is,
Richie Doyle. Yes.
He's here making music tonight, and I'm going to sing a couple songs with him here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks a lot.
I appreciate your work down here. And I think
yours as
Missoula
well.
does too. Hi, Margaret Kingsland. How are you? Happy birthday to us, huh?
Thank you. Yes,
Margaret
indeed.
Kingsland
Happy birthday to all of us.
is a member of the board at MCAT.
Right.
And is wearing a spectacular
Yeah.
necklace.
A lot of animals on
How are you, Margaret?
I'm fine.
How's
thank you.
MCAT doing?
MCAT's doing great, and I love to read our statistics, and I love to tell folks about them, and I think we're really proud and happy to be celebrating our survival and our prospering
Yep.
2 years. Yeah.
What statistic turns you on the most?
The statistic that turns me on the most is the follow-through on the number of producers that we've trained. I mean, we've not only trained huge numbers of them, over 950.
Yes.
But
We need
the
a drum
number-
roll for that,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good one,
Yeah.
ruffles and flourishes. But I love the fact that about half of them, nearly half of them, have already produced material
Yeah.
that we can air
Yeah,
on
that's
MCAT.
pretty
And
spectacular.
I think that empowering the people in that way, the people
Yeah.
of Missoula, and validating their voices and their sense of Missoula's story or the individual stories that they create together is really important and exciting.
Yeah,
and that's why I
Missoula's-
wanted to be on the board.
Missoula's kind of special that way.
Yeah,
National
that's right.
averages, I think, run about 25% of the people
Yeah.
who get trained actually do programming. Here, 40% of the people who
Already
get
we're nearly
trained
doubling
do it.
the
Yeah,
national average.
it's pretty
Yeah,
spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, as a matter of fact, one of the things I'm gonna do in a few minutes is I'm gonna get Terry Jemerson over and
of our
talk
stars.
to him about some of his awards.
Great.
And maybe run
Great.
some of his programming.
I'd love to see
Have you
some
seen
of that.
Have you seen the Poverello piece?
No.
I'm gonna grab him then, see what
Except in
happens.
the background of board meetings. I
Right.
haven't gotten to listen to it.
I
yet, so
know.
of course I'm paying attention to you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Nice to see
Have
you.
some cake.
Happy birthday.
Terry Jemerson, come on down. Terry Jemerson is Terry Jemerson is a distant relative of Athol Frumpley.
Very distant.
Very distant, yeah.
yes.
And is a very serious young man, and does some excellent video production at MCAT. And I think that we have to be very proud of Terry because of the work that he's done. He's one of the few people who have already, starting here with us, has developed a technique to the point where he's winning awards. And you won an award at the Best of the Northwest for a program called Poverello.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what it is and what got you started doing that program.
For a number of years, I've been interested in the Poverello and trying to help them out in different ways. I've lined up cooking Sunday meals there, having different groups come in and cook meals for them, and there's just so many things that can be done down there, and that were going on there. Most of the area, and the city especially, does not know what all happens there. So I thought it would be really interesting just to try and give people a clue as to what happens at Poverello. And when I approached the people that run the place, why they said, "Funny you should ask, because we really would like to have a video of the place." And so the idea was to just take footage of things that go on there and have a short enough presentation that the video could be used at service groups and different things like that. So I ended up making about a 12-minute video. And when I showed it to them, why they were tickled with it. And I ended up entering it in the Best of the Northwest contest, and I got an honorable mention there.
And in what category was that?
This is documentary.
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 And has the Poverello Center been using this video then locally?
Yes, they do. They go out and speak to civic groups and try and let people know what's happening in there and what their needs are and so forth. And they usually take the video along, or if people just want to see the video, they have a number of copies of it now.
Is there something that we should say, something that you want to say about the Poverello Center before we run the film, or does it tell a story?
I hope it tells a story just like it is. I don't know if they'll show the whole 12 minutes of it.
I think I have 14 minutes and some odd
14 minutes?
seconds going. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay. So you get to see all of it then.
If there's part of it that you think needs to be commented on after it's over, I'd really appreciate you talking to us.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Let's roll it, please.
Good morning, Missoula, and welcome to a new day here in the Garden City. I hope this day is a good one for you. Isn't it great waking up and knowing we're all part of a kinder and gentler nation? Oh, and by the way, welcome to the New World Order. You know, for one brief, shining moment, I believed that this morning, till I picked up the newspaper and suddenly I was transformed into a state of paranoid catatonia. Things are bad, bad, bad. And who in Washington really seems to listen? People are out of work. No one can afford health insurance. Housing costs are skyrocketing. Benefits are running out. Funding is being cut back, and everything seems more expensive. So to all of you lined up for a meal down at the Poverillo on Ryman Street, hey, we're with you. Everyone deserves food and shelter, health care and education. And we're all about one bad break from being in that line ourselves. Oh, and for all of you listeners who haven't been down there, either out of need or to help out, try it. Go on down and take a friend along. Look this country right in the face. Make those statistics real. Meet the people and hear their stories. Go on down there where they say you can actually touch the human face of God. Good morning, Missoula, and welcome to a new day right here in the Garden City. Well, listeners, our first song this morning was a new release, Motherless Child. It was done by Missoula's own Brian Whittemore. Later on in the program, we hope to have some more of Brian's new record. Meanwhile, I hope you all just stay tuned here and pour yourselves another cup of coffee. If you dare to read the paper, why, go ahead and do that. Stay tuned, listen to us, and we'll try and make this as good a day as we can, you know. So, before we get started with our next song, I have a few public service things here, so stay tuned, listen up. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to the GED test.
All right. How often do you come up here?
Monday through Friday, from 12:30 to 3.
All right.
Then I also go to the Willard Center in the evenings on Monday and Wednesdays, 2 hours.
So do you like coming up here and working?
Yeah, Kitty's pretty cool.
All right.
She made it to where I was a failure in school, and she made it to where I know that I'm somebody and that I can do it. It's really easy.
So what do you want to have come out of all of this?
One thing, I want to see how much I really know and how much they just pass me through school.
Then what kind of work would you be trying to do?
I want to get into business, like secretarial.
All right. Would you encourage other people that are...
Oh yeah, it's a good question. It's a good program. They've got to be willing to do it themselves, pull themselves through it.
If you drop out of school, go back to school, because the real world is tough. I've been on the streets and I know how it is. You can't get a job without a GED or a high school diploma. So go back.
So did you drop out of school and just...
I dropped out of school in 9th grade when I was 15. Right before I graduated from 9th grade, I dropped out of school. And I just got back into the GED program here yesterday. And I'm 17.
So you lived out on the streets?
For a while.
How do you get by when you're doing that?
You don't? Soup lines.
So have you come down here to eat quite a bit at the Poverillo?
I come down here to eat lunch, and then I come over here to go to school.
Right. So what would happen if this place wasn't here? What would you be doing?
Going hungry.
How about the Joseph
residents that it's in operation.
Yeah.
We have been to capacity. Now we have, first families are leaving, so we have room for more. But we also have families that are waiting to get in, so it's worked out so far.
Why is that better than what you have here?
Yeah, here we have 2 small rooms. There we have 2 rooms per family, plus a bathroom. And then they have lots of area to play in or relate to each other in, or whatever you want to call it. Plus the setting is really nice up there.
I'm from Great Falls, but we've been living in Reno for the past couple of years, and we decided the big city wasn't a place to raise my children, so I took everything I had to bring them from Reno to here, and I didn't have no money to keep myself going, except for I'm working now, but it's taking everything I got from payday to payday to keep working, and everybody wants first and last month's rent up front plus deposit, which is more than I can afford at one time. So the Poverello Center's let me stay here until I can get on my feet. You get people from everywhere. There's people that come in off the streets because they have no place to stay. More or less like we were. We didn't get a place of our own. And I don't know. It's like staying in a big dormitory. Everybody has their own private rooms. You share a living room. You have a family area. You have a dining room. You have a kitchen. There's a lot of community. Everybody pitches in and works together. If you didn't, it'd be awful expensive and hard. But otherwise, it's like having a giant family.
Every day we go out and we pick up a lot of food that's donated to the Poverello Center. And other than that, I'm unable to work because of my health. And I've got emphysema. Right now I'm trying to get help and get into housing. And the way it sounds like within a week that through the help of the Poverello Center that I might get that within a week. The Poverello Center has been real good towards me. And when I first come here I was a little leery, but there is quite a few people here, but we all work together, and that's what makes it work. The staff members, they're all super, and everybody just gets along. We all take our turns in the kitchen, and whether it's mopping floors or vacuuming or whatever, and we all take a turn at it. That's the way it works.
How long you been here?
I've been here about 5 weeks, and but I was in the hospital for about a week, and I was pretty sick. And for probably the first 3 weeks that I was back, I just absolutely couldn't do anything but rest. And then I got up and started moving around, and I'm still not 100%, but I can walk a ways now, and I don't think I'll ever be 100% again, but I'll make it somehow.
Tell me a little bit about trying to find housing in Missoula.
It's pretty difficult. Real difficult. When we moved over and started going through the papers, it was just outrageous. You know, you're looking at 2-bedroom trailers for $400 to $500 a month. And houses, that was just outrageous. We got this little girl over here, Jamie Lee, and we've got 2 more kids, so we're looking for a 3-bedroom place, you know, which is going to run us anywhere from $550 to $600 or better a month, you know, and it's just too hard for us, you know, with our income.
A family can stay for a good length of time if they're progressing in their goals. We've had some people who have had a part-time job but just not able to save up enough to move into a place of their own, and they stay months and months. We also have people who are just out of the hospital and need a place to recuperate. They can stay until they're well. We've also had people who just need a place to stay while they're passing through town or trying to find their relative where they can stay at.
Has changed so much. We no longer serve what they used to call the transient or the bum. We now serve people, families who are in deep trouble, who have hardships that they certainly need help to rise above. And we find that the people we help are not people who are begging. They are people who want to move on and to better themselves.
Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. There are times I am almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Way up to the heavenly land. The heavenly land. I'm a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home.
Congratulations, Terry. It's a fine piece, and it's a great reflection on Missoula. Now that you've done this, what are your plans for the future?
Still like to try something maybe along the same documentary line, but a little bit more elaborate, and maybe even, you know, something real special. I don't have anything specific on
people kind of stuff, political
yes,
kind of stuff, people
kinds of things. So.
Well, I look forward to your next shot. And if I can help, let me know.
All right.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks.
Have some more cake.
Oh, I've had enough.
And get your tennis arm loosened up.
Thanks.
Well, we're going to listen to some more music, and Michael Marcelic and Richie Doyle. Take it away.
This next song is about youth sports, organized youth sports. And I don't know if this song would ever make it on commercial radio, but thank God for public access television. I'm going to sing it to all you who are listening.
I'll sing too.
I just have this to say. Play has nothing to do with winning or losing. And sports has usually too much to do with winning and losing. Daddy, I just want to play. You know it's so nice out today. Listen, all I want to say is we both need more time to play. We both need more time to play. Well, son, I guess it's time you know what every American should know. There's more to life than fun and play, as you will surely see someday. You see, sports prepares us for life. We must learn to win and fight, because the road to the boardroom, my son, leads through the locker room. The road leads through the locker room. But Daddy, I just want to play. You know it's so nice out today. Listen, all I want to say is we both need more time to play. We both need more time to play. And I don't want to learn to fight. To me it doesn't feel right. Fighting isn't any fun. I'd rather play beneath the sun. I'd rather play beneath the sun. Well, son, I guess it's time you know what every American should know. There's more to life than fun and play, as you will surely see someday. You see, sports prepare us for life. We must learn to win and fight, because the road to the boardroom, my son, leads through the locker room. The road leads through the locker room. But Daddy, I just want to play. Daddy, I just want to play. We have another song, short song.
That was written by Richie Doyle. This is another one that was, can I introduce this?
Sure.
It's another one that was written by Richie, the music anyway. The words are by Jalaluddin Rumi, who is a Sufi poet from the 14th century. Very prolific poet with over 10,000 poems to his credit, and just a few have been translated, a few hundred have been translated into English, and this is one of them. This is a song about mourning, a song about how precious life is, I think. It's called The Breeze at Dawn.
The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. Oh, you must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill, where the two worlds touch. The door is round, the door is open. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Don't you go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Don't change the channel. Don't go back to sleep. Stay tuned for a live party. Don't go back to sleep. Happy birthday, Access TV. May your cameras show the way. Happy birthday, Access TV. May your cameras lead the way. Missoula Community Access TV. Missoula Community Access TV. Power to the people. Access TV. Power to the people. Access TV.
Thank you. Party on, dude.
Darn, Richie. Party on, Michael. There's been a request by one of our more famous producers to have Athol Frumpley conduct the next interview, and I want before this thing happens, I do want to tell you that just in case we forget, in the next milieu, that Undermining Yellowstone has garnered some very important awards, an award from the Wildlife Film Festival and an award for Best of the Northwest. Athol?
Yeah.
You're on, and
Okay.
I'm out of here.
All right. Well, you can stay here too if you want. I might need some help up here for a little bit. Well, by golly, you know, I get to do an interview thing here. What?
Here, show this to him.
I thought I was going to do an interview here.
Now, here it says Undermining Yellowstone. Which one of these cameras is on this? That one there? Undermining Yellowstone. Can you get a close-up of that, or should I bring that closer?
It looks like they're getting it close. By
You know
golly,
that
it's right there.
Undermining Yellowstone was a... did you want to ask me a question?
No, you go ahead.
Undermining Yellowstone was an MCAT production, and it happened to win an award at the Wildlife Film Festival, the recent Wildlife Film Festival. We're happy about that. There's a lot of productions that come out of MCAT that are just as good as this production, if not better. But there are a lot of people that just don't bother with entering them in contests. Maybe they should. In fact, I think that this year there were 2 award winners that came out of MCAT at the International Wildlife Film Festival this year, plus several that got awards at Ashland. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Did you want to ask me a question?
Yeah. Did you get any awards at Ashland? At the...
I don't want to be talking about my awards.
Oh.
But I want to present an award. Can you get a close-up on this award? You know,
Is this all... Okay, just so it isn't anything obscene or libelous, you know. That's all we have to watch out for here.
did you want to say something, Dave? Do you want to ask me a question?
Is that your reward?
Yeah. But I'm going to give this away to someone else. I'm going to give this one away. You know, most of the productions that are done here are done by people who are doing nonprofit work, and there's no commercial involvement. And a lot of the stuff is community service work or community disservice work, depending on how you look at it. A lot of the work I do is probably non-commercial community disservice work. Did you want to interview me or ask me a question or something?
This is really good. What was your next sentence going to be?
Okay. So it's important that we can find people in the community who are able to rip off our work, I think, and turn a profit out of it. And by golly, that's happening, isn't it, Athol?
I think so, yeah.
And This award has to go to Les Hilliard. This award goes to Les Hilliard of Satcom Communications. Can you get a close-up on this? This is the first time ever an award like this has ever been presented.
Well,
This has come.
What reward is this?
This is the award for commercial interests ripping us off, and I'm really proud that this is happening, and I'd like to congratulate this gentleman. Yeah, yeah, those holes are going to come in handy, and
You're doing really great, you know. My golly, somebody has to say some of these things, and I'm just glad it's you and not me.
well, I'm just really happy that this is happening, and for you people that are getting this signal in the Rattlesnake, we're really glad that I, as a producer, I'm proud that the work that I've done and is being completely buggered by Les Hilliard of Satcom, and I want to present him with this award. This is the Sheriff of Nottingham's award. Can you get a close-up of this here? The Sheriff of Nottingham.
I've got another question for you.
Just a second. This is the Sheriff of Nottingham award, and this is given only once in 100 years.
Don't you mean a century?
Thank you. This is given only once in 100 years for those who take from the people and give to themselves. The Sheriff of Nottingham award to Les Hilliard of Satcom Cable. If you could see down here, to get a close-up here, it's signed by, what's that say?
Well,
Basil
all
Rathbone.
we can really see is your finger.
Or was it Razzle Bathbone? I thank you, Les. We really appreciate being ripped off in the way we have been. It's a brilliant job.
Well, shall we, let's take some time, Gino, and see what some of these people are ripping off.
Okay.
How about that? An award-winning rip-off for your own pleasure and enjoyment, and possibly even that you might learn something.
That's a bit rare.
A lot of people, they don't have any idea, oh, is there a mine going in? And to me, this is major news.
I'd rather see Yellowstone National Park get this whole country than to see that mine in there, you know. I think Yellowstone's got enough land as it is, you know, and I would hate to lose my home here, but, you know, that'd be, if it was one or the other, I'd rather see the park get it than the mine get it. Because at least the park isn't going to, you know, damage the whole country like the mine's going to.
One of the mining officials, and I won't name names, but he said, well, this isn't much to look at up here anyway, so it's not going to make that much difference. Well, to me, that's a beautiful area up there, and Fisher Creek area will be almost wiped out. We worry a lot about water quality, and I don't think there's a mine in Montana that hasn't had some sort of a problem with cyanide leaks.
I don't want your million, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is clear water, mister, and to hear these mountains sing. I was born in Cook City, Montana. My grandparents roamed through the Yellowstone. Now you come with cyanide leaching to burn and waste our native home.
just across the valley, over in that saddle, is Yellowstone National Park. And the mountains you see in the background are Yellowstone National Park. This is Management 1 Grizzly Bear Recovery Area. Just to the north of that is the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness Area. The Noranda Minerals Corporation, a Canadian company, would like to come in and remine this whole area, and in the process, doubling the size of the open pit that's already been done and taking the mountain down to the level that I'm standing at now.
Let me show you, by means of looking at this map, what Noranda's general plans are in terms of development and exploration on the property. This is a general map of the entire area showing the town of Cook City down in here, and an unpaved dirt loop road that runs up Miller Creek across the geographic feature here called Daisy Pass, over another geographic feature here called Lulu Pass, and down another drainage over in this direction called Fisher Creek. That loop road essentially defines the project area. These deposits are very high-grade gold, copper, silver deposits. Gold probably carries about 90% of the total value. They're exceptionally high grade by comparison with the deposits that are mined elsewhere in the U.S., whereas many deposits in Nevada are mining gold on the order of 0.05 ounces per ton. Our average grades in Miller Creek and Homestake look like they're going to be running about 2.293 ounces per ton. So we're talking about extremely high grade, but fairly small tonnage deposits. The ore would be shipped out to a plant site also located here in Fisher Creek. And at this point in time, at this particular plant site, the ore would be processed. And some of the waste material, or tailings as it's called, is being proposed to be stored in a tailings impoundment structure located in Upper Fisher Creek. And a good portion of the tails, about 40% of that which is mined, will actually be slurried back underground to backfill the workings and that sort of thing.
The grizzly bear have ranged through this area for as long as they've been keeping track of them, and this is a constant travel corridor between their summer and winter ranging areas. And this is frequent. This is because of the slope, because of the kind of terrain. This is preferred denning area for a grizzly bear.
In terms of grizzly bear habitat, Noranda's actually been funding the grizzly bear studies in this area to the federal government, funding the interagency grizzly bear team. As I understand it, basically their conclusion is, within the project area, there is not a significant bear use in that area. What there is it's a migratory route that the bears use to get from one place to the other.
I define a corridor as a route of maybe not so good bear habitat in between two areas of good bear habitat. This area is a corridor for bears. In addition to that, though, I think this area is more than a corridor. It's probably an area of good quality bear habitat. The white bark pine, again, is probably the number one habitat feature for bears in this area. There are also other things. There are nice wet areas for grazing foliferous vegetation. This area has a good berry crop. You can see these avalanche shoots in between these white bark pine stringers, and those are just filled with huckleberry, grouse whortleberry, nice berry area. My biggest concern with the advent of this proposed mine is increased human access. By that I mean increased road development, more roads. This area already is laced with a lot of roads. There are a lot of spur roads. Bears just use habitats less than they ought to when there's high human activity. The grizzly bear, to me, is a symbol of the wildness of the Yellowstone ecosystem, and as long as we have a species like the grizzly bear occupying this area, then we have what I think is a fairly wild ecosystem.
The only real impact I can see us having on Yellowstone Park is going to be one of perhaps some visual impacts during the active life of the mine. That is, you can see parts of the mine area from that particular place. We'll also have some impacts in bringing in additional traffic into the area should we try to keep the road open from Cook City to Cody, Wyoming on a year-round basis, because it's currently only open about 6 or 8 months of the year.
Right in here where we are at Cook Pass,
we average like 8 foot of snow on the level, you know, and the only way to handle that is with a rotary. You're going to have to blow it someplace, you know, and down below us towards the Wyoming line, east of us, there's two major slide areas right in there, and I don't know whether they've taken that into consideration. They have a lot to learn. They really do. Right now it's a gravel road, and lots of time in the wintertime it's an ice skating rink, you know. So now when they get blacktop on it without a lot of sanding, it's going to be worse than an ice skating rink.
Another effect that opening the mine would have would be that it would open the road up, which is presently closed in the wintertime, to increased amounts of traffic into Yellowstone National Park, and especially into the Marv Valley, which is, when John Coulter saw it, he called it the Magnificent Valley. It still to this day has a huge wintering range for elk and bison primarily, but also the species that live off those, the coyotes and all of the predators. Eagles, peregrine falcons have begun nesting just over on the Wyoming, just across the border in Wyoming. So you're going to increase that traffic, which also increases stress on those animals, which are already seeing tremendous amounts of stress due to the increased traffic, winter traffic in Yellowstone Park that we're seeing now.
But I think probably one of the major concerns is the water quality and how it may be harmed, and with the acid drainage it could be harmed just forever. Those things do not go away.
They're talking like submitting to the atmosphere 150,000 tons of dust particles per year coming out of their crusher plant, and with the prevailing winds that we have in the summer and the winter time, I'm sure that those dust particles have to settle into the Round Lake, Lady Lake, into the streams in here, which run in behind our place. How much is that going to pollute our water down through here, and what's it going to do not only to my 4 wells that I have on this property, but what's it going to do to the people that are above me yet that's closer to it?
My husband and I are not environmentalists, quote unquote. I mean, like, we don't believe that we don't want any more wilderness, you know, but we need to protect, we need to be good stewards of the land.
Water quality is going to be a very tough issue here. One of the problems here right now is that they're in both drainages, both the Daisy Creek or headwaters of the Stillwater Creek and the Fisher Creek drainage, as well as the Soda Butte Creek, already have severe acid mine drainage problems from historic mining. But we're proposing right now to have a fairly sophisticated water treatment plant here, and there's no doubt about it, the water coming out of Fisher Creek would be tremendously, the quality of it would be much, much better than currently exists in Fisher Creek because of the existing acid mine drainage problem.
Well, that sounds real good. There's a number of other metals that'll be involved in this project that they don't want to talk about, and that's the toxic levels of heavy metals that will be suspended in the water system and in the soil itself and in the tailings. And you'll see high levels of arsenic, cadmium, lead, zinc, as well as cyanide, which is part of their process. Even though this water looks bad, the looks aren't the half of it. The color of it won't kill you. It's what's in it that will. It's what's in it that kills fish, the macrobiotics that they feed on, and ultimately that will affect the entire system around you, from the smallest insect up to the largest mammal.
There was an article that come out from a spokesperson for the Crown Butte, I guess it was, out of Denver, saying that they were going to ask for a variance in water quality because there's no way they can keep from polluting them rivers. We never had a fish in this river until about 12 years ago. Now our little kids can go out there and catch, 12-inch fish out of there. It's taken a long time for it to start healing from the last mining venture, and they start a new one in there. It's going to just ruin the Clark's Fork, and it's going to ruin the Stillwater. It's going to ruin the Soda Butte here.
We've proposed a cyanide vat leach final finish in our processing plant, which is not like some of the big heap leach operations that go on out in Nevada. These are completely enclosed inside a building, and it's done in large cylindrical tanks.
Oh, promise it won't leak, promise. I've never seen one yet that didn't leak. And not one in the, I don't think in the world that doesn't leak, you know. And then they're going to put it right in a bog, you know, and stuff. You know, it's ridiculous. And right under an avalanche dangers. And geez, if an avalanche come down there and hit them palms and wiped them out, there wouldn't be a live fish in the Yellowstone River all the way to Missouri, you know. I mean, there wouldn't be. I mean, it's...
This is a small town tourism area, and we can foresee a lot of problems with tourism because of the mines taking over a good area where a lot of fishermen go, a lot of hikers, backpackers, and then there's snowmobiling in the wintertime. Mining is short-term, maybe not in my lifetime now at my age, but it is a short-term thing. And we would hope that tourism would continue on for a good many years, but we do worry about what will happen to the tourism when the area is, to my mind, destroyed. And it will be destroyed for years and years, and some of it forever.
In Cook City, the area is 100% dependent on tourism and recreation. The economy there has made the transformation in 40 years from one of complete development and extraction to one that is a renewable resource, which is the tourist. It's not a boom-bust situation. You can see cases through history of where mining operations come into an area, they develop the economy of that area. When they leave, the economy is shattered. The jobs that are here in place now, the jobs involved in tourism and recreation, are jobs that will be here for years and years to come if we protect the resource that we have that is the best resource. And that is the mountains themselves. That's the beauty. That's the cleanliness of the air, the cleanliness of the water. It's the hunting. It's the fishing opportunities. You take away those things for a few jobs you can provide for 15 or 20 years, I just question seriously if they're both compatible together in this area.
Our prime industry here now is tourism and recreation. The people will still go through probably the Beartooth Highway into Yellowstone Park, but the recreation, winter and summer, and spring and fall too, will all be, I think, hurt by this. Snowmobiling, as stated by the Noranda Crown Butte report, snowmobiling will probably be the most highly impacted detrimentally of all the recreation. We're concerned about that because in the wintertime, the industry here is snowmobiling, and we're very, very concerned about that.
We used to take a lot of day trips back up in that country, you know, with mostly sightseers and some fishermen to hit a bunch of lakes back in there, you know. And now there's so much noise and you know, they've tore up the country so much. I mean, just building the roads just to get their drills in there and stuff that nobody wants to go back up there and sit by a lake and listen to that, you know. And I took a trip in there, day trip last year with some people, and I was really embarrassed just to even take them in there. So we've just kind of quit, you know, taking them into that area.
One of our state representatives, shall I name him?
Sure.
Mr. Marlene, said that now this area won't have to rely strictly on tourism. We'll have the mines and bringing money in and so on. Well, I disagree completely with that because I think they'll do lots more damage to our tourism, and especially in the long run, than by any of the money that the mines will bring into us.
Has Mr. Marlene been down here to look at the situation?
He flew over.
Marlene, of course, he's against all wilderness anyway, you know, and but they're for big business and the dollar, and they don't give a damn what happens to this land, you know. They really don't. That's my opinion of the governor and Marlene. You can quote me on that one.
If you're not used to small towns, they're sort of polarized anyway a good deal of the time, and to have a big issue like this, that you get one on one side and one on the other, is just a really sad thing to me. And I know that some of us feel uncomfortable around people and vice versa. They feel uncomfortable around us already. And this is barely off the ground.
People are still riding the fence maybe a little bit, you know, wondering, you know, hoping, well, if it goes in, maybe this will have a positive impact. Maybe it'll work out for me. I think that's what a lot of people are. They're waiting. They have a wait-and-see attitude about it. But I think, yes, eventually it will create problems, and especially with those of us who've been here for a long time.
I think bottom line is we're all here for the same reason. We love to live here. It's a hard place to make a living in this isolated community. I would hope that the polarization that we're experiencing right now will eventually go away. I would hope so, you know, because you don't want to live in a divided community. We're all neighbors, and if we can address the situation and handle it the best way we can and in the best manner we can, I would like to see that. But we still need to voice our opinions because we care. And that's just mainly why I feel like I need to say what I've said, is that we care so much for what we have here that we need to protect it.
That country is so beautiful up there, and it's really special to us for a lot of reasons. My husband's grandfather outfitted up there back 50 years ago, and that will be gone, and it's never going to look the same. Already there's such major changes. That really is our #1 concern. I mean, our business going by the wayside is really secondary, and I think that will happen too. I think it's going to be really difficult for those of us, you know, involved in outdoor tourism. It's going to be really tough.
We moved up here to enjoy what's here. This is a beautiful country, a beautiful place to live, and we don't want it to stand still in a lot of ways, but we don't want it destroyed, and we don't want it degraded, and that may happen.
There are so few places left anywhere in the world that are still this clean, that are still this pristine. That legacy is something that all Americans in the future should have to look forward to.
We feel optimistically, if a miracle essentially happens, we might be permitted to begin construction in the spring of '93 here. It's much more likely that it'll be the spring of '94 or something like that, assuming a permit's granted at all.
We work to build this country, mister, while you enjoyed a life of ease, and now you come to mine our homeland for gold and silver and for greed. There'll be no slime pits in our valleys, no toxic waters where grizzlies reign, no poison melters along our byways, and no mine workers for you to maim.
I guess that's my point. I'd just soon not be here.